Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Monkey Business. I'm one of your
Dude,
hosts.
click the wrong button
He's
again.
he's
He's gone.
Carter,
oh,
not
he's back, he's
again.
back.
We got 5 seconds
Adios.
in and Carter already left.
I love it. Bye bye,
Oh,
Stinky.
Second
this
time I've done
guy.
that.
Oh, as I was saying, I'm one of your hosts, Roaring Kitty. That is very hard to say. I'm joined by one of our constant co-hosts, Uber Kicks 11. How's it going, Carter?
Will's balls.
Well, in this case, Will was Bowler Guy 92, but either could apply. Maybe he's both. How's
Bowler
it going,
hat
Will?
guy. Bowler hat guy, like Meet the Robinsons. Great movie. Glad to be here.
And we have a bonus guest today. Here today, we have a extremely special guest, Ryan Cohen, founder of Chewy.com. How's it going, Ryan?
It's going.
So, Will, what are we here to discuss today?
So today we are discussing the film Dumb Money, which covered the GameStop situation in early 2021, where the mass populace stuck it to the man and bankrupted some hedge funds. Fantastic. Yeah, except no one actually ever got reprimanded for illegal activity in Wall Street. So there's that. It's only okay if the hedge funds do hedge fund things. The people can't do hedge fund things, and that's what I learned today.
But can they do hedge fudge things?
Oh, I'd love
question.
some hedge fudge things.
Should we start with ratings? Do you want to start with ratings?
Let's save those for the end. I think
Okay.
Ryan and I were talking about this, and he likes a little build up, a little suspense,
little mystery.
To the ratings. So I'm fine with switching them back.
I think Will said the same thing.
Yeah, cool. Then if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cool.
All right.
So I'll start off kind of with the cast. Pretty high quality cast. I really liked Paul Dano in this role. He wasn't really he's just kind of branched himself into anything. The first time I ever saw him was in There Will Be Blood, and then from There Will Be Blood I saw him in the Batman, and then or Fablemans. I can't remember which one was next. And then this will be the fourth Paul Dano movie I really know of that I've seen.
You've seen Little Miss Sunshine. You're a big fan of that one.
Oh yeah, Little Miss Sunshine as well. We did that one too. So I've seen 5 of his movies. I always kind of enjoy him. He's super quirky, super fun. He definitely has his own style of acting, but I get drawn into his characters a whole lot every single time I see him on screen. So he was really just easy to follow. I loved Shailene Woodley in the supporting character role. She didn't add a ton, but she was still a good presence. Seth Rogen didn't laugh, so he gets a C at best. And then there were a bunch of other actors who I've recognized. I forget the one lady who's the mom in Barbie. I can't remember her name.
Ferreira.
Yeah, it was cool to see her again. And then as well as Pete Davidson just being standard SNL Pete Davidson funny man.
There were a lot of big names in this movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they were in the trailer. I know they're in this movie. Like Vincent D'Onofrio's in it, Nick Offerman, Sebastian Stan.
Oh yeah, Nick Offerman. Didn't recognize him without the mustache at first until he spoke.
Yeah. Well, the mustache is the dead giveaway. But then also, shout out Clancy Brown, plays an important character in Gen V. Shout out Professor Brinkerhoff. Anyways, yeah, quite a fun cast.
Real quick, who does Paul Dano play in There Will Be Blood? Eli Sunday. He's
Yeah.
the priest.
And he also plays the other Sunday brother,
okay.
which is a big weird thing the first time you watch the film.
Monday, Sunday.
But yeah, Paul Dano rules in that movie. Everyone in that movie rules. But we're talking about this one. Carter, anything to add, Ryan?
In terms of the cast,
did you like it? Did you think it flowed well?
I think America Ferrera was really great. I think she stood out to me. I think her scene at the gas station seemed like a throwaway scene. I thought that was one of the best in the movie. I thought that was really good. I rolled my eyes when Pete Davidson showed up, but he won me over. I thought he did very well.
Yeah.
I was a little worried, but he did very good. Anthony Ramos, I think
He's great.
needs a new agent or needs a rebrand or something. I thought he was terrible in this.
His
Um,
character, his character's not written well, but he's a great actor.
Who does he play?
I he plays the GameStop
Oh,
employee.
okay.
Oh, I gotcha. Oh,
So he
I
he's
did
was
like him.
he
in
was
the
the one
Transformers movies.
doing it. Yeah, and he was
Yeah,
awful,
that's
awful,
right.
awful in that too.
Yeah, that was harsh.
Yeah, he so
Wait, Pete Davidson was in that as well. They met back up, dude.
yep.
Little reunion.
Well, I doubt they met while filming this because they never interacted. But a little re they might not have met filming Transformers either because they never technically interacted. They may have never seen each other in real life, but a reunion regardless. Um, and yeah, Paul Dano. I think he was really great in this. Yeah, I think he was. He gave a, a quietly kind of daring performance. I think it was pretty awesome. I think his hair didn't look great, but
Paul
Like
Dano
it's
at
not
his
supposed
finest.
to, though,
overall,
right?
yeah,
Kind of like Anton Chigurh. Like it's not supposed to look good, but it's there.
I don't think it has anything to do with Anton Sugar, but yeah, I mean the hair is there and
Bad
it's
haircuts are
there.
supposed to be bad, man.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
I like the cast a lot.
Hold on. I was gonna mention what's her name? Shailene Woodley. Did you mention her, right?
Yeah.
I thought she was great in this. I thought she gave one of the best performances, actually. I think she was understated because she plays Paul Dano's wife, but she did really good. A very kind of a minor character, but she um surprised me with how good she was.
She's down to earth and
Shout out to
believable the
her.
whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Ryan?
say, I didn't know too much about the movie going in because I hadn't even seen like a trailer, so I wasn't expecting anybody in the cast besides Paul Dano. But I thought he did awesome job. Same with Woodley, and it was pretty great. I like the cast a lot.
I think one other thing that I kind of liked is the movie basically revolves around a few set locations, right? There's not a ton of traveling. You have like three different offices that are covered. You've got GameStop, you've got and like where everybody works and lives. But none of those characters directly interact with one another pretty much ever besides phone calls. They're all isolated. And it really kind of brought you back to the whole a little subtly. I don't think it was pushing it too much, but it kind of reminded you of this happened during COVID. It was a shutdown. No one was interacting. And you just had to work with what you had. And whether or not that was 7 lawyers to write your statement or you and your wife talking through your testimony to Congress, it really kind of brought it back to the whole your world got smaller despite how big you were.
Is that a fat joke?
No. Warren, you're a fan of like small or like a limited location films. What do you think?
There are too many
I
locations.
I don't think this is
Eh,
a limited location film
just trying
according
to.
to
I'm trying to
Warren.
build the conversation because no one's talking.
It's not a thriller. On like weirdly enough, I do think it needed a lot more tension. I think it was kind of lacking in that case. I think it was just kind of event to event to event, moving to the next one, jumping around. But I I yeah, I think it's really neat, really great to see a movie like this that's just kind of uses a few locations. They just have a couple big houses, couple small houses. They have, there's good contrast between the people who eat in the giant, you know, window lit rooms and the people who are just kind of sitting around with their families eating dinner. The ones in their basement and the ones with their wine cabinets. And it, it worked really well. Pretty simple. There's a racetrack. That was a good little location. I like that a lot.
I will say that the did he run like a 4 minute and 8 second mile? That's pretty cool. A little speedy guy.
I will pay money to see a 4 minute and 8 second video if Paul Dano can actually run a mile in 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Because there's not a ounce of me that believes that he could do it.
He is like 45, isn't he?
He
So
looks 28.
He could probably do it in like 8.5 minutes.
You can walk it in 8.5 minutes.
yeah,
Paul Dano is 39 years old.
really okay.
Still spring chicken.
Yeah, he looks young.
For sure.
He has a young look, but he feels old. Like that's one reason I was worried going into this. I thought he was just gonna be too old, but he did really well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely blended himself in there quite nicely. Um, whereas in other films, he's really really grown up. You know, in The Fablemans, he's a dad, and his kids are older teenagers and stuff, and you really kind of feel the weight and the age of the responsibility in his character. And then here, he's just young, sprightly. He's got a new kid and everything. Buys his brother a Porsche, and yeah. In terms of this being within our memories of something that very much happened very recently, how do you think it did? Like, did you guys think it captured the spirit of the hype that was going on? You know, kind of browsing Reddit threads and all that stuff, or do you think it kind of fell flat? What's up?
GameStop to the moon. Yeah, I still remember it pretty well. It was a weird situation, and it's weird that like there's already a movie about it when it was 2 years ago. But it is quite cool seeing some of the stuff behind the scenes that I had no clue was going on at the time.
Did you not know that Robinhood shut down for like a day or two?
No, I did hear about that, but
Okay.
some of the stuff about like the inner workings of why stuff happened and what these different players were doing behind the scenes. It was very cool to get a look at it from like the 3 or 4 different perspectives.
Yeah. I remember just hearing that, wait a second, Robinhood is backed by Citadel, and
Yeah.
just going, this is insane. But like I remember hearing that um in the news with all Congress, and this movie kind of has that sad ending as well that comes with a bunch of the mega corporations do mega corporation things and nothing happens. That The Big Short does at the end. Have you guys seen that?
Nope.
It's great. I actually really like it. But basically at the end of the movie, they kind of go, yeah, and all this stuff happened, and I want to tell you, and it's like, and all these people got fired, and the police came in, and everything, and the law was upheld. And it says no. What ended up happening was a bunch of people, or it's like poor people got blamed, and one guy got fired. And it's kind of that heartbreaking thing of, oh wait, where's the responsibility? And I'm not really saying down with the regime, because if you have an economic collapse in the US, there's a lot more problems than just the rich people get poor. There is a lot of things that will get disrupted and go down, but it is still really cool to have the story of one guy who went with his gut, who did some math, and who just told the world about it, and the world believed in him. And then together, a lot of people made a lot of money. And yeah, some hedge funds got bankrupted. And say la vie.
You might
Never by the
say
grace of God go I.
Heath Gill was the real Robin Hood.
I like that one.
Did any of you buy GME?
I didn't. I think I heard about it like a lot later, like once it was over 100, kind of, because it wasn't like huge news. I'm not usually like keeping up with stock markets. I have some investment type stuff, and I tried to stare at it all day because that just makes me sad. But I think, yeah, I think I heard about it when it's like 150, and it just didn't intrigue me enough.
$1.50 or
No,
$150?
150.
Okay.
And then I saw it went up to like 350 because some friends at work were talking about it. I was like, that's pretty cool, but I didn't know all the stuff behind it. And like I heard about Robinhood shutting down, but didn't realize how big of a thing it was in the stock market and all that stuff.
Ryan's too persnickety for that. He only goes for a stock if it hits 500.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing the peak of this at around like 440 or like 410 or something. And I remember seeing it at 20. I was like, I'm not buying this. This is crazy. I knew some people who did get involved and made some money. I didn't know anybody who made a ton of money on it. And I definitely knew people who lost money as well. Who just bought in at too high, and was it paper hands is the opposite of diamond hands, I think. Um, if you just buy quick and then sell at the drop of a hat because it goes down a little bit, and that's how you nickel and dime yourself to death.
I have a cousin who got some stock in Bitcoin in the early days. They sold like really early on and only made like $50 or something. And if they had waited a couple years, it would have made like thousands of dollars.
More, yeah. But like that's kind of the whole thing is the economy can at points be upheld by legal gambling. Um, to say I think a company is worth this much, therefore I will pay to be a part of their company, which is cool, you know. And investing is really cool, and if you do it right, there's a lot of kind of free money out there, but it is all risk.
It's all risk for all of us, all of you guys, which is what the movie is trying to get across. There's no risk involved for any of the major investment corporations because they will just bail each other out and they will continue on.
Do you think that's a hopeless thing? Do you think the movie's trying to tell the public to do this type of thing again?
No, I think the movie's just trying to um record and present this event that happened. And that's cool. That's
Mhm.
great. I think it works as what it is. I think, yeah, I think we were all kind of, I don't know about you, Will, but I think Ryan and Warren were like, wow, it's kind of surprising that this movie is exists like today, right now, considering it was only 2 years ago, as we were saying.
Well, yeah,
Because,
I agree with that as well.
okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so we're all on board. That's like,
Hmm.
dang, that was fast. And it's like, it's very much trying to just capitalize on the fact that it is fresh in our minds. Because if it was made, 10 years from now, I don't think it would, I doubt many people would care. Not that no one would care, but this movie wouldn't make a ton of money simply because people wouldn't be like, oh, that's interesting. I want to see that. They'd be like, oh, remember when that happened? And then wouldn't see the movie.
So this movie, if you guys kind of read at the end, was based on a book. And so the GameStop short squeeze essentially happened in January to February of 2021. And the book by Ben Mesrich, I haven't read it, I'm just on Amazon right now looking it up,
It's the
was
Antisocial Network.
is the Antisocial Network, and it was released in September 7th of 2021. So that's a 7 month turnaround time. From the time it starts to the time it's from the time Jimmy stops being what it is, essentially it's still uh 5 times the amount that it was in August of like 2018. Um, but yeah, that book was written, and then someone had to make a script, and then you're really dealing with only a year to a year and a half of total production time, maybe at most. Carter, is that a quick turnaround time for a book to movie adaptation, or
Um, not on a not on a technical level, I don't think, but on a like production level, I guess greenlighting, not production as in like going out and filming and writing and stuff, but like greenlighting essentially and getting the studios, I think it was Columbia, which is cool to see they're still around, allowing it to go through and funding it and all. Yeah, it's very, very quick. But I the book coming out that soon doesn't surprise me because it's a book. It's they, as soon as the event gets moderately big, there's going to be people researching it and trying to understand it and get the information out there and publishing it because, people want to know. It's important to record things. Um, but yeah, I was honestly worried that the movie was going to be a little dumb because it was just so recent, but I think it works better because it is so recent. So that was kind of surprising, kind of cool.
I mean, you might say the movie is half dumb.
I
What's the
think it
other
is half
half?
of them. Well, not necessarily half. Hold on. It's 44% dumb.
Okay, I'll grant you that.
Hmm.
56% money.
Yep.
What was where was it? I was just looking and it says GameStop stock is currently at $15. So it's higher than it was in 2020. It went up by 5 times.
I said this fact about
You did?
2.5 minutes ago.
Darn.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? Me and Carter we were just in Frederick and we were just walking around and we were gonna stop by a GameStop because there was just one around and we were bored. And it was closed.
What is it
It's
now?
gone. It's like a
The
it's like a it was either the
It's a
pet.
podiatrist kind
Wait,
of thing.
oh,
It's
Good
called
Feet.
the foot.
Yeah,
Oh
was
yeah,
it
it's
called
the
Good
good
Feet or
it's
something?
the
Good
Yeah,
good feet or
Yeah.
the good
Good
foot or something
feet.
like
Yeah.
that, dude.
Feet.
Right next to Birds Unlimited.
They didn't have any birds, sadly.
Nope.
Pernicious misnomer. Come on, guys. Where are the birds?
Birds lost today.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, Warren.
Stinking Rangers fan.
Well, the Red Sox didn't make the playoffs, so whatever.
That's great. They were bottom of the AL East.
Now they were
Right with the
fourth.
Maybe
Yankees.
maybe
Yankees were
next
bottom,
year.
weren't they? No, Red Sox were bottom.
No, Warren, not next year.
Pete Davidson was a Red Sox fan in this. Red Sox and Bruins,
Well,
Unfortunately.
we can't all be winners.
unfortunately.
In case it's not apparent, I am not a Pete Davidson fan.
Anyone
God,
here a Pete Davidson fan? Skeet Davidson.
I think he's a kind of silly little guy sometimes. I wouldn't consider myself a big fan of him, but there's sometimes that he makes me laugh a little bit.
You'd consider yourself a little fan of his.
Like a really tiny little fan, kind of. Will, are you a fan of Pete Davidson?
Guys, I've brought up like every conversation topic so far, and you
I
guys
know,
are
we're
over here
just
talking
like,
about like baseball and Pete Davidson, and we're gonna think
okay.
he's funny. Here, I know I can bring up another one if you want.
Nick Offerman's mustache.
No, so the movie really tries to kind of set forward some emotional heartbeats, right? You've got the sister who's passed away. You've got the tension between Paul Dano and Shailene Woodley. You've got kind of the parents and how they treat their kids. You've got like the small undertones of Seth Rogen's character and his wife, and just them losing money over and over. You've got the grave scene. You've got the constant like relationship, not issues, but discussions that are hard and that come in with like, do we sell? Do we not sell? Do we buy? What happens with all this money? Or just the pressures that society puts on you in order to stick with something you believe in. Do you think the movie really developed a lot of those emotional heartbeats to a point that it can carry over and really make you feel something? Or was it more apart from you in your viewing experience? So I'll start, because for me, it felt as though these were something that I kind of saw the characters go through and went, oh, that would be hard to see and to do, but it wasn't where it started to touch my heartstrings and I could begin to relate to it, because I didn't think it took the time to go deep enough. What do you guys think?
Well, I think each of these individual storylines that we're looking at with all these characters who are investing in GameStop, which is why we're following them.
Mhm.
I think all these different individual arcs that we go through, they all hinge on, will they or will they not, or how long will they or will they not sell their shares once this price is skyrocketing? How long will they hold on, and when will they sell? When will they sell? And what's stopping them from doing it right now? And so all these different characters have different reasons for why they would want to sell. So like one character has a mortgage on the house, and one character has student debt, and one character has whatever. There are all these different reasons. I think in that aspect, the film definitely falls flat because it doesn't really explore the why the characters are doing what they do all that much. Like take the two college students, for example. Like at least one of them is in huge debt, and they both have like a lot of reason why they should sell.
But I think both were in
why don't
over
they sell it? It's just
150,000.
because this guy on Reddit said so. That's about the only reason we get. It doesn't really explore the why for many of the characters very much.
For me, I feel like it's kind of the same as with Warren. I felt like I did really like the characters a lot, but there was there was at least like five different like characters that would hop back and forth between. And in a what maybe 2.5 hour movie?
It wasn't 2.5.
No, it was
It
a
was
pretty
pretty
short
short.
movie.
1 hour,
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. In an hour and 45-minute movie, it's hard to develop all those, I think, especially when they have that many different characters that they would want to develop.
Yeah.
Um, I did like you find yourself rooting for them because
Mhm.
you want to see the little guys win, and
The
they're in
David
debt
versus
and
Goliath.
yeah, you want to root for the underdog. I don't think like emotionally I was attached to them, but like I was invested in them, pun
Well
intended.
played. Well played.
I thought they did a very good job. Just it'd have to be a lot longer of a movie, I think, for them to actually be able to flesh out every character and all the whys and everything.
I agree. Yeah, it's not that the movie's messy or anything like that and things get lost in translation. It really just is. It's a quick little film and it's a big cast. And they kind of ask you to really get involved with a lot of these people's lives. And it just didn't meld. But I liked what you said. Just, and again, no pun intended, you are invested in their experience, but not necessarily feeling it as much as the character themselves are portraying. Carter?
Um, I think I agree with all three of you to an extent. One thing I would say is I don't think the movie should have been longer. I don't think I could have taken 2.5 hours of this. I think it's a good length. I think it's perfect length. I think there isn't really a why, like Warren said, but I think I am very invested in this. I think it did need more tension, as I already said. It it definitely doesn't feel that the stakes are really there, even though they very much are. Um it
Hey,
really
can I ask
needed.
a question?
Sure,
Or would you rather finish the shot first? Sorry, that was rude.
go for it.
Um, how what's the best approach to adding tension in a movie where it's such a recent event, the majority of the audience who's going to see it knows the ending?
It's hard to say because
I
I
mean,
am.
if I can jump in here, I
Go for
think
it, please.
I mean, you could easily add more tension by putting less focus on Seth Rogen's character and all the hedge fund people that got I mean, a lot more screen time than I would have expected going into it. And just put more focus on again why these characters would or wouldn't sell because we don't really see that much at all. And like Carter said, there is never really a reason given for why these characters do or don't. And we don't see what it would mean in reality to these characters to have or not have that money, really. We only see it for a brief surface level for, their 3 minute scene or whatever. And then it's on to the next character. And then it's on to the hedge fund manager and what he's going through.
Bingo, nailed it.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
It's the only one that really gets to that is America Ferrera's character because she talks about her mortgage and her kids need braces and she's massively in debt. But Anthony Ramos's character pretty much just sits at GameStop
Yeah.
and does his dances. The college girls, they kind of just sit in their bedroom the whole time. Um, and everything it's all just kind of told to you. It's just explained. Even America Ferrera is just kind of just tells pretty much flat out why what is going on in her head as to why she thinks she doesn't want to sell.
Mhm.
There's one good little anecdote that the one of the college girls tells about her dad, and that was cool. It was a good story to the theme overall, I think, but
Mhm.
not really. There isn't much character development in them. It didn't really need specific character development if you're going to do a movie like this, where it's just jumping from character to character to character, like but there's five all interlinked in the same conflict, but it needed more focus on the solidarity that they have with each other, I think, and and how they follow Mr. Roaring Kitty and his his charge forward to try to fight these guys. I think it did it well in some instances, but overall it was very lacking in the emotional connection, and it was very much going for the emotional connection. So
Mhm.
that's, eh. But two things I wanted to bring up. I really, really liked the introduction of the characters, and it said their name and it said net value, and it gives it because the first one it gives is $400 million with Seth Rogen. Then it goes to like I think it's 6 million, 6 billion, sorry, and then 16 billion. And then you see Paul Dano sit on the subway and it says 97,000. And then it gets then they go into the negatives, um negative almost 200 for one character, and then one has $136 to his name. I thought that was pretty good. And so that that's really all the exposition you needed, and then just have them just go through more internal struggle instead of just talking out things, I think.
Mhm.
Because it was a great introduction, just a phenomenal character introduction, because then you know where all these characters are at.
Yeah, because I mean, first impressions are so important, and
Yeah.
even just the scene where Paul Dano's character meets with his like hedge fund friend guy in the restaurant, and
Hmm.
you just see the difference between, this guy who's sitting really like sitting up straight in his suit and tie, and then you have Paul Dano like slumped over in his t-shirt or whatever he was wearing. There's just such an immediate difference in your first impression between the characters. So yeah, that was great showing people's net values, and just you immediately you're like, oh, I know where this character's at.
Yeah, and it's like the body language is really good in that scene, and then also just um how out of touch they portrayed those people who are in hedge funds and stuff like that and who are running these multi-billion-dollar corporations. What was really well put together, where it has the whole room of lawyers to write this one speech, and oh, we can't do it in front of your wine cabinet, we can't do it here, we can't do it here, we can't do it here. Oh, let's do it in front of a printer in a small office. There you go. So now you're one of the people, and meanwhile, deep value is just doing his in front of the sinking computer with the bandana in his home. He doesn't have to fake doing this, and he kind of goes against all the advice that they gave. He tells them exactly what his parents did. He tells them exactly where he went to college, where he grew up, all this stuff, and but he doesn't make any attempt to hide it. He's like, this is what I do, and I like the stock. And it was I think, Carter, I really like what you said. This movie has one of the best ways to kind of portray, or like one of the best uses of on-screen text, in my opinion, ever. Because sometimes it's just so stupid to see locations, and I'm mostly referencing when the Southern Lands go to Mordor in what was that
Rings
stupid
of Power.
Rings of Power show? Yeah, awful use of text on screen. I know what it's gonna say, but this movie, yeah, great use, great, loved it.
Shout out to Where the Shadows Lie.
Far away from me.
Another great use of on-screen text. One of my favorite movies is one of the movie that I really like is The Irishman. See, I don't know if I'd ever want to watch this movie again,
See,
but
guys, I was just watching The Irishman the other day.
Hey, I'm not the one who watches it every year. I just get a little soft spot for it.
Well, to go back to an older point, I think the film also could have definitely delved into the kind of class clash of the little guy versus the big guy, and that could have been a bigger focal point, I think, because that again is kind of a driving force for why some of these characters are holding their stock position. And that could have been an interesting direction to go as well. But in general, I think the film had a lot of really interesting ideas in theory and some swings and misses in practice.
That's fair. Guys, got anything else you want
I
to talk
think in
about? Or
practice it
oh,
did
go
as
ahead.
well as it was set up to do. I think the theory part of it needed to be developed a lot more and honed in order for this to have a chance to go farther. But I think in practice it did well, especially like just I mean, it's no Scorsese movie, but it did well with the social status of these characters, I think, having them viewing them at their jobs and with their families and stuff, and comparing and contrasting all the different characters against each other. It was noticeable. It did well. So it's very recent. I talked about why that's a surprising thing, but turned out to be a good thing, in my opinion. Um, it one thing that it I don't want to say it bothered me, but it bugged me. If there's even a distinction, who
No.
knows? But you will never, ever, ever be able to translate internet culture into a movie and have it not be just peak cringe. I'm sorry. Um,
Okay, but
I
you never
think it
watched Tagged.
I think it did it as best as it possibly could. I'm not gonna lie, but it's still like it still hurt to watch people doing TikTok dances and having like a Reddit comment montage every 15 minutes and having, people say diamond hands, and then crowding around and going, "Oh," when he said, "I like the stock." Yeah, that hurt a little bit, at least to me. I wanted to know what your thoughts on that were.
I thought the meme overload was kind of funny.
I
I
mean,
thought it
as a
was just
Reddit
stupid and
connoisseur, I thought it was
hilarious.
pretty great.
I thought it fit like the kind of the uncaring nature of it all, and just the, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna be vulgar. We're gonna hate this. We're gonna just be neckbeard or whatever. Just cringe mentality, and just to add more to the fire, dude. So I thought it was cringy, but I also thought it was funny.
I agree. I thought it was like they did it as well as they could with what Sakara said. But no matter how well you do it, it's still gonna be this guy's on Reddit. He's on Wall Street Bets. He's streaming on Twitch, and he's got comments on his Twitch just coming in. He's reading them, and it's gonna be just a slight bit cringy, just because of the internet and what Reddit is as a whole.
But I like
But
them leading into it
I
because of what the movie's about. I mean, the movie's about Reddit.
yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, but there were those moments of like, dang, that yeah, that's kind of what Reddit is. That's pretty bad sometimes, but it was funny.
Yeah, I think in terms of Mr. Roaring Kitty himself, I think his setup and all that, and his interactions with it were pretty good, actually. I think it was pretty well done, well handled. Mostly what I was complaining about was like I said, I'm not hating too much on it, actually. I think it did as well as it could, but it really takes me out when there's like a montage of TikToks and they all pop up on screen, and then you know you hear one and then one talks a lot, and then it turns into like a lot of noise during this kind of montage overload. And like it, if I go to a movie and then I see a meme in the movie and I have seen that meme before, I'm like, oh no, I've seen that meme before in real life. That really takes me out of it. I'm not gonna lie. But I I I, I very much appreciated like doing the research and collecting like real things. And I I mean I assume everything they did show in a montage is something that is nothing was like made for the movie, you know, like in any other movie they would try to like make their own memes and relate to the all the kids, and
Yeah, that would have been
that would have been
rough.
disastrous, but it that didn't do it here. So I think that's uh well done on their part.
They didn't do the Glass Onion Daniel Craig playing Among Us in the bathtub. We'll live Among Us.
We just need a movie of Carter scrolling through TikTok with the camera pointed directly at his reaction.
And then
There's only one time where cool internet trends were done really well in any type of film type medium, and that's the Bluey episode, of course, where Bluey and Bingo teach their grandparents to floss. Yeah, proving that an old dog can learn new tricks.
Yep, grandma's can floss.
Grandmas can floss.
it's a life lesson.
I was just watching Bluey the other day.
It's a good show.
It
Very
really
good
is.
show.
Great show.
Yeah.
Top 10 show all time for me. Not gonna lie.
I have
Not even kidding.
not kidding.
Not even
Yeah,
kidding.
I'm
It is
there
a
with
top
you.
10 show of all time.
It is
I
so good.
recommend Bluey.
I have one question before we
Yeah.
finish up and go to ratings. Who do you think won the race? You think Pete Davidson beat out Paul Dano at the end?
Bro, I think it's a tie, and I don't think either of
Okay,
them
I think Pete
finished.
Davidson would get off to a big lead, and then he'd run out of run out of stamina, and it's the old tortoise and the hare. I think Paul Dano would win in the end.
Just chugging along back there and
Yeah.
passes him at the end.
Yeah, because Paul Dano actually practices the mile, I guess, but and Pete Davidson just smokes weed
I was gonna say, I think his lungs
Yeah,
are a little.
and
I was
cigarettes.
just about to bring up his lungs. I was gonna say I think Dano might have healthier lungs. So 100-meter dash, I think Davidson gets him, but if you want to go a mile, I think it's Dano.
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite scene?
Ooh.
Hmm.
I wasn't prepped for this question, I'm not gonna lie.
Simple little question to end it off.
I
Simple.
really enjoy the Congress scene as a whole, with Shailene Woodley sitting in the background, him putting the bandana up, and just kind of the whole that's the only person he needs in the room with him, just his wife to kind of coach him through for his little testimony and stay to the truth. Don't talk too much, and to kind of watch that what he's doing with that union and that relationship, these other guys are trying to attempt and fake an image for the public. And I thought is really well done. And it was really cool. And that was probably the part of the movie where I really felt the most emotional connection to a character, was while Paul Dano was giving his speech.
I was gonna say the exact same thing actually. I think just like the contrast of his legal team and his advisors for Seth Rogen's character giving him like, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't be in this room because that's too close, that you see too many windows, too much of a view, that's you can't be in front of the wine collection and all this other stuff. And they're asking how many people are in the room, and half the people in the room leave, and it says five. And then the contrast from that to Paul Dano in his basement with cat poster on the wall, his bandana hanging from it. He's got his little headset on. He's got his wife sitting on the stairs, and it's just being his real, honest self. I thought it was pretty cool.
Awesome. I'm telling you, Woodley in this movie,
Yeah.
very, very good.
Yeah, I'm not a big Shailene Woodley fan, but she was great in this. Which brings up, I think my favorite scene was when Paul Dano's character is having dinner with his family, and Shailene Woodley's character is trying to stick up for him in front of his parents, and they keep shooting them down, and they're like, "I think you should go talk to this hedge fund friend of yours," and kind of trying to dismiss what he's done until they realize how much money that he could make if he sold, and then they have absolutely no clue why he isn't selling. I thought that was a really good job of highlighting not just the generational disconnect, but also where the different characters are at. And even Pete Davidson's character in quotation marks.
I wouldn't say it's a generational gap, though. I would say it's just more the mentality gap of it, because both Pete Davidson and the parents
That's true.
are on the side of selling.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite scene is also the dinner scene with the family. Agree with everything Lauren said.
Wow, we are boring. 4
No,
people,
not
only
at all.
two
I also
seasons.
really, as I said, I also really, really like the gas station scene. I thought it was a very simple little scene. I think you needed more scenes like that and less scenes like at the graveside. I think that was a little,
Felt a little
yeah,
forced.
melodramatic. Yeah,
Mhm.
very. A lot of the big emotional scenes that it wants to present are a little too melodramatic. And
Mhm.
I think if this had a little bit more drive, little bit more tension, and occasionally had a scene come from left field like that, I think that are very simple and aren't in your face, but are just kind of about two people talking, just two people interacting in the middle of a global crisis where people aren't allowed to interact. And they, forming a little connection over something like getting gas. It was
Yeah.
nice.
All right, shall
So
we
you
move
want
to
to move on?
ratings?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm down. Should we let the guest go first or last? Ryan, you get an input on this as well.
I don't care. I'm
Do you want to go
fine doing
second or
whatever.
First
third,
it
Ryan?
is.
Yeah, go
Okay.
first. Start us
Go
off.
first.
Yeah.
Um, I went into this movie not expecting a whole lot, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. I feel like it doesn't take a whole lot to make me enjoy a movie though. So I don't know how much this is about me, but
Nah, don't discredit yourself.
I I'm gonna give it like
I saw you form the
do we
word
do
eight.
do we do by point 0.5 increments or can you do like
You can do
Personally,
whatever
I
you
like
want.
You can
point
do whatever you
fives.
want as
Yeah.
long as you don't go like this is a .83, this is
No,
a
you can do even that if you
.78.
want.
Yeah, do whatever
No.
you want, Ryan.
Mm-mm.
I'm putting
Ryan,
it like an
you're our guest.
8.8. I really liked it.
All right.
Damn, what's that? That's awesome. Carter?
Wait, 8.8 out of what?
Mm, We'll say 10.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like 13.7 or something.
Carter, how do you want to do this? Or what do you think? Come on. Give it a number.
How do I want to do this? Oh, okay. I hate giving ratings, man. I hate giving I hate assigning a number to something
It,
like
it does
this.
suck.
Yeah, because it's just it's not something that I'm gonna really be remember that much, 2, 3, especially 10 years down the road. But just today it was a phenomenal time at the theater, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice little capture of the moment. Not something that's gonna be timeless though. But I do highly recommend it. I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right. Here, I'll go next. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it to a large amount of people. If you can kind of deal with vulgarity, then you're fine. There's not really much else in the film. There's like some suggestive stuff, but it doesn't go crazy. And it's short, it's concise. It gives you a brief insight into something that happened a little while ago, the ups and downs, the pros and cons, the power of the modern or the power of the average man as well. Um, well, relatively well paced, well cast, um, super solid. Really enjoyed it, but I don't know if it really has that longevity factor in terms of again, yeah. If I'll think about it, even at the end of this year, but I'd like to give it a big old 7, like 2 thumbs up type 7.
Two
Uh,
thumbs up.
yeah, 2 thumbs up 7. I don't think it's in the upper echelon of films,
So
but
is each thumb up
it's
like
definitely
a
not
point
bad.
0.3? So that's like a 7.6.
I'd be comfortable with a 7.5, but below a 7.8, and anywhere in there. But
So
yeah,
each thumb is like 0.3 to 0.4.
no, more like 0.25, 7.5. Yeah, 7.5, big old 7.5. Yeah, go see it. Why not? Especially if you have like the Regal Movie Pass, right? If you have a way to see this movie for free, 100% go see it. Um, if you're going to spend money on a film, read some reviews of it first, kind of gauge whether or not you're interested in this type of a film, whether or not you like vulgarity or whether you can view that. But if you can see it for free, go for it. It's great.
Or 75% decide to go for it. And if you do go for it, you have to go with both thumbs up.
Warren, what's your rating?
Well, like I said, I think the movie overall is pretty solid for what it is. I think there were some things that they could have done better. Um, you don't really feel like you know a lot of the characters all that well, but that is kind of what the movie is. I think this falls squarely into the zone of, well, Carter and I have talked about this numerous times, but I'd put the cutoff line between like a 5 and a 6 for not worth watching to worth watching. Well, there are sometimes outliers on either side of the line. Um, but I put this squarely in the 6 camp, and I think it's worth watching. But it wasn't like anything crazy, and I'll probably never watch it again. But it was a fun experience.
Yeah. So what's your number out of 10?
He
6
said
out of 10.
6.
Oh, did he? I
Yeah.
completely zoned out.
6
My
out of
bad.
10
Okay.
with 0 thumbs up.
Sorry, I was trying to be rude.
Maybe one
I'm
thumb
6
up.
out of
Insane
I'm 6 out
number.
of 10 with 2 thumbs up, by the way. I'm I'm very much on the
Okay, you know
side
what?
that it
Okay,
is
I'll go
on
I'll
the
go
good
6 out of
side of
10
the
with
line.
one thumb up.
All right.
Okay, fair,
Yeah,
fair. That's cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
Sorry, Ward. I kind of got lost in what you were saying at the end, and I was like, I don't think he said a number. So I do apologize. My
He said a
bad.
lot of numbers. What are you
Lost in
talking about?
sauce.
He's been saying all types of numbers, man. I can't keep track.
You just keep saying numbers.
Numbers. All right, Carter. Send us out, man.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful time. Glad we could do this.
Wait, we didn't even
Absolutely.
mention the
What
apes. There are so many apes.
There were
apes?
so many
Yeah,
Oh
monkeys,
yeah,
so
see the
many
movie.
apes.
Tons of monkeys.
Apes together
tons of monkeys,
strong.
bro. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, all three. of the new Planet of the Apes movies were in there very prominently in one montage.
Wait, can you
It's
imagine
very
how low
cool.
Carter's rating would be if there weren't any apes in it?
You take away those two thumbs up.
Fun time. I was cracking up. Big old smile on the face. I love monkeys. Big fan of monkeys. And on that note, until next time, um, Ryan, thanks for coming on. So happy that you could join us today.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
hmm You're one of the monkeys now. Glad you are.
Part of the
And until
ship, part
next
of the
time,
crew.
yeah, that makes five monkeys right now. And talking about movies is our business. See you around.